Hello, hi, it's me, Rose. We're starting our basic series. I'm actually going to be uploading this to IGTV as well. I'm super excited. You're still going to hear all the ruckus in the back. It's basically just my stories, but on IGTV. So today we are talking about color correcting, made incredibly simple, because even mentioning color correcting can strike fear in the hearts of many. Here we go. I also wanted to note that I'm filming this with my back camera. Can you tell the difference? Because I can. We are 10 shades of HD. All right, enough squicker squawking, let's go. So I've already done my skin prep. Again, this is the basic series. We'll do a whole thing on that, but I've already done my skin prep. But the first thing that you want to do before you start anything else on the skin is we're going to pick a primer. I'm going to use, I think I'll use two today. I'm going to use a mattifying primer and a hydrating primer. So the hydrating is going to go on the outer perimeter and underneath my eye, and the mattifying one will go through the center of my face. Start with this. This one's going to be our hydrating primer, and this is more of a skincare, but I'm using it as a primer. So this is the Glow Recipe, what is this called? Watermelon Glow Niacinamide Dewdrop. So we're just going to apply this here on the high points of my face. And when I say high points, I mean the cheekbones, underneath the eye, through here. If you guys notice, I never apply highlighter. I kind of just let my skincare peek through. So we'll apply it there. You can even apply it where you're going to apply your bronzer. Just make sure it's nice and hydrated through there. Mattifying primer, I'm going to grab this one. This is the e.l.f. Matte Putty Primer. So remember, this is the matte one. They have different versions. I love this one. I just feel like it really grabs onto my makeup, but it never dries me out. So we're just going to apply this with this eye treatment brush from Anissa Beauty. That way we can really pinpoint where we want that matte. So remember, we're just taking that right through the center of the face. We can kind of branch it out right through here. Okay, our skin is prepped. Now, I know we're thinking, let's hop right into it. No. Give your primers at least 2 minutes to dry down, sink in, do their job. If I was to apply anything on top of this right now, even the matte primer, it's going to be slipping and sliding. It's going to be a mess. It's going to turn cakey. We're going to start throwing fits. I know I would be throwing a fit. So this is a huge tip. I know most times we're getting ready in a hurry. At least give it 60 seconds. You just gotta be patient. I promise you'll see a major difference. Okay, all of that boring to get to here. The boring part is always necessary. Skin prep, waiting for things to dry down, it's crucial. So let's talk color correctors. I know that they are so frightening, and most of us even think, oh no, another layer. We don't want a layer. If we use color correctors properly and we look for very thin formulas, we're actually going to wind up wearing less makeup. Aha! All right, let me tell you more. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to have a list of all the correctors and what skin tones look best with certain correctors in the caption. For right now, I'm going to start with my green corrector. I'm going to show you two different formulas. I just did a little extraction here so you guys get to see the thicker one, and you'll get to see this one, which I kind of use as an all-over redness corrector. I always like to start with my redness correcting primers. You guys see my cheeks every day. They're always a little extra rosy, and this one is my favorite just to kind of balance and go from there. Again, I have this extraction, and it's going to need a little more, but let's start with this. This is the Makeup Forever Redness Correcting Primer. It's just called the Redness Corrector. It's very thin. It's not going to mess with the primers that we already have on, and also it's very light, so it's not just going to turn us straight grinchy. So I'm going to work this in, and I'm really kind of just going to focus it where I have redness. Redness is very common on your cheeks, a little around your nose. For me, it's a little on my nose. You can see that my forehead doesn't have it. We're going to leave that bare. So I'm just going to do 2 drops. So I just did 1 little dot here, and then the same amount over here. So we'll just kind of tap that in. And as it dries down, you're going to really see it work. You can see that it's just canceled out the redness in our cheeks. It looks more even, but you're not seeing a green, grinchy cast. Nope. But let me show you another green corrector in case you have blemishes. I'm going to grab this CoverFX. This is the Correct Click in Green. I love this one. This one's a lot thicker. Now, if I was to put this on my cheeks, all over, it might peek through our foundation. It's not really great for beginners, but what it is great for is tiny little spots like this guy. Now, we could use our finger, but I like to use a brush that's a little more dense, and I'm just going to grab it right on here, and then I'm going to just really press that right onto the center of it. Just kind of pack on that color first. You can already see that most of the redness has gone out of it, but now we're just going to start to diffuse the edges. And if you want, you can just kind of wipe off that excess that might be on our brush. That way we're not just doing a big old green seaweed blob here. But we're just going to start tapping around that. Now you still want the most product right on the blemish. But you definitely want to diffuse those edges. And just kind of tap around a couple times. This guy here, he's looking less spiced. We can handle that. I also wanted to mention that you could wear these type of correctors. I also have one here from Algenist. You can wear these alone just to even out your skin tone if you don't want to wear foundation that day. They're actually pretty miraculous when it comes to that. So of course the fair, we have a deep, and then medium tan. They're amazing. I wanted to mention that as well, but if you read the caption, you'll kind of see it. So let's get started on our under eye. I'm going to be using the shade Peach since I am fair to medium skin tones. I'll have the other skin tones on what shade you should use. This one is the CoverFX Correct Click. I love this one. And that's all we're going to need. And I'm going to grab a concealer brush. This is my Anissa Angle Concealer. And I'm just going to start to press that in. I also want you to notice that the way we press and no swiping, that's really going to help just push that pigment around. It's going to help it not fade. And we're just going to continue to press this underneath our eye. If we need a little bit more, we can add. We can just kind of look and go, you know, do I really need more? And just for teaching purposes, I'll just pop it right there. And again, press, always pressing. Oh, I forgot to mention the other colors for other skin tones, so I'm going to list them here. Again, I'm just continuing to press. You can just see that difference right there. It just really cancels out any kind of purple, any kind of blue underneath the eye, which I find when I use my cool tones, I definitely reach for a corrector. Anytime I use cooler tones, they really pull out any of the blue or purple underneath my eyes, so that's also a really good tip. Are we okay? Are we still on board here? Is it all making sense? I'm trying my best. I just feel that we have really overcomplicated the color correctors. I even feel that a lot of times we see everyone on Instagram putting purple, green, and all of that. While that's so much fun, that really did confuse a lot of people. So color correctors, I promise you, they're really user friendly. So happy it's making sense to all of you. It's so great when I can just get my point across and help all of you. I'm really trying my best to not overcomplicate this. We can always come back later, work maybe on certain skin tones, but for now, I just wanted to just dive in, and it seems to be working. All right, moving on. I still feel that looking at a color wheel and what cancels what is really helpful. So we'll just pop this right here. You guys can pause it right now if you want to read it. Not to sound repetitive, but I cannot stress that we want this layer of corrector, any corrector on our face, to be extremely thin. That's why correctors are very pigmented. They're not meant to be put on the same way concealer and foundation are, so we're going in very thin. Sometimes even before I apply any of my eyeshadow base, I'll just take a little bit of corrector and just tap it across. That's just going to even out my veins in my eye. Just make sure we have a nice clean base. I'm not even using enough to affect the eyeshadow base that we'll apply later, but just a little bit really creates a nice even canvas. Okay, so we have our correctors on. I'm not going to do any more than this. This is about it for everyday wear. If we were to go into heavy stage makeup, anything of that nature, we could start going a little bit more intense, but anymore, it's not going to look as spicy as it needs to out there in the natural sunlight. Moving on to foundation, this is going to be really crucial. So what I want you to do is I want you to just kind of place it just a little bit, and the way to not move your corrector is to make sure that you are always pressing. That's not going to disturb it. That's going to allow that foundation to just go right on top and not mixing that green corrector in with the foundation and then turning all grinchy. No, no, no. We want to take our time and just press the foundation over the corrector. Okay, now that we have our foundation on, you can really see that this starts to look really peachy. While that looks a little more wild and out of control, that's actually going to ensure that our concealer is not going to turn gray. I'm telling you, corrector is a party you want to go to. Okay, so I did the concealer on this side. I have not done it on this side. You can see that that corrector it's working hard for us, and I'm going to show you why, because this is all we're going to have to use. That's it. I'm going to press this in with my Anissa angled concealer brush. Again, with the pressing to not disturb. I feel so many times we get disheartened just from the way that we use our brush. So pressing is really going to be your friend here. And you'll notice that this concealer is about 1.5 to 2 shades lighter than my actual skin tone. Since we have that corrector, it's going to balance it and not turn gray. Alright guys, I'm just going to go ahead and set my under eye. I'm just using a translucent powder today. And we're just going to continue to work that in. I'm going to go ahead and finish my face. And we'll talk about what we learned. And here we are. We've reached the end of our color correcting tutorial. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Make sure you read the caption. There's also a lot of really good info there. I love you guys with all of my heart. Let me know what you want to see next in the basic series.